Got a lot of quarterback battles we're looking at. Someone asked us, we're kind of trying to head towards spring. Hey, which quarterback battles do you have your eye on? I got to think Alabama's is the most high-profile quarterback battle that's going to happen here. Now, remember when they played Indiana in the Rose Bowl, they got smoked so bad, and then Ty Simpson gets hurt, and he's out of the rest of the game. Who came in? Austin Mack came in. Now, I got to tell you what I was thinking. What I was thinking was, I think Keelan Russell is the future of that program. Austin Mack is going to play a half in the playoffs here, and it's basically his audition tape, and he didn't play bad. And I was just sure that he was going to go in the portal. And it turns out Austin Mack kind of loves to be at Alabama, so he stayed at Alabama, and they're going to have a really high-profile quarterback battle this spring. It is still my belief that Keelan Russell is going to win that job. But that's belief. And that's me being really high on him as a player. But, Austin Mack's a really, really good player, too. And I think that's going to be one that's looked at, and there are going to be a lot of people who use like their own slant on things for whoever loses the job. Let's say Austin Mack finishes runner-up. Let's say he goes into the season as the backup quarterback. There are going to be a lot of folks who look at it and say, oh, what a mistake on his part. The only mistake would be him doing what he didn't want to do. That would be the mistake there. So let the man live his life. Or maybe he wins the job, and then Keelan Russell's the one who has to wait another year. What about Clemson? Cade Klubnik's moving on. So we'll have our eye on this one because they brought in Chad Morris at offensive coordinator too. So Garrett Riley's out. And Chris Vizina was a guy that we talked about several times a few years back. And he came in and he was a pretty high-profile recruit. He was number 155 overall per the On3 rankings in 2023. Well, all right. Now he's immersed himself in the program. He's 6'4", he's 210, he's ready to take the reins now. I know Chris Denson and Tate Reynolds are there, but it's Chris Vizina's job to lose to me. And he played against SMU last year, 317 and 3 touchdowns in that game. Again, I don't know how much of a battle this becomes, but it's a quarterback situation, I guess I'd say, that I have my eye on. Tennessee's kind of the same way, because at Tennessee, we got to find out what's going to happen with Joey Aguilar, because in today's college football, you don't just get to pick up your preview magazine and find out who's in the mix. Now you have to follow court cases, So whatever. Joey Aguilar, though, that situation, like if he gets granted another season of eligibility, he's the odds-on favorite, obviously, to win that job. They brought in Ryan Staub from Colorado. As of now, I don't expect him to be in the mix for the starting position, but George McIntyre and Faison Brandon, those are the ones who are going to battle it out. Brandon comes in there, going to be a true freshman, high-profile guy, 5-star caliber guy, and George McIntyre's been there a little while longer. I think right now, if it's not Joey Aguilar, my guess, if I'm throwing darts at a board in February, is that George McIntyre ends up winning that job if Joey Aguilar is not there. But the other thing you always got to pay attention to with legitimate 5-star caliber quarterback talent is it's one thing if the guy's ready to play in August. That's great. But not everything is just set in stone as it's always going to be by week 1. Especially if you're a true freshman and your head's swimming, sometimes the light comes on in week 5 or week 6. So Faison Brandon, week 1, versus the same guy in week 8 could be 2 totally different stories, so that's something else to keep our eye on. Nebraska. Hey, quick time out here. Are you subscribed to the channel? It doesn't cost anything. It's free. Please do it. It helps us maintain the show at this level. That's it. That's all I got. Back to the clip. Had a very contentious situation there for a little while. Dylan Raiola transfers out, and then it was Kenny Minchey. Kenny Minchey is going to be the starting quarterback at Nebraska, and the graphics went out, and the announcement went out, and then all of a sudden the breaking news went out. No, he's not. He's actually going to Kentucky. Will Stein, breaking hearts in Lincoln, Nebraska. So then Anthony, I call him Calandria, but it could be Calandrea. I'm a Calandria guy. He comes in, and they really, really fell in love with him. Now, partly because they have to love him. He has to be the guy. This has to work out. Because candidly, I know T.J. Lateef stepped up last year. I know Daniel Kalen's still there. I think for them to maximize any kind of potential as a team this year, it's probably going to have to be old AC there. If we can go that far as to use initials in February, I think it's got to be him. And if you think about the opening they have to their season, Ohio, Bowling Green, North Dakota, at Michigan State, Maryland, they don't play, in all likelihood, I guess, they don't play a ranked opponent until Indiana comes in there. And that's in the second week of October. So there's time. I actually didn't know that about Nebraska's schedule till Bradley threw it up there. So there's time. What about Duke? I wanted to talk about this because Duke is one of those. They were a beneficiary of the way the portal works a year ago. Now they're a victim of the way the portal works. So Darian Mensah leaves. And it's very significant that he left, first off, because you lost your starting quarterback, but also because their backup had already transferred out, thinking, well, I'm not going to beat out Darian Mensah, not knowing that Mensah was going to just disappear and go to Miami. So the backup had already left, so they had to go to San Jose State. They got Walker Egret. Egret's an animal, right? Yeah. Never owned one. Don't know if they're legal in Nashville, at least in Davidson County. Williamson County is that's a different world down there. All kind of exotic pet ownership down there. But in Davidson County, no egrets. However, at Duke, Walker Egret, he's there by way of San Jose State. My guess, and this is just a guess at this point, is that's probably the guy, but he still needs a waiver. So we don't even know. Manny Diaz does not even know if that's his guy yet. And if we're down Darian Mensah and the backup, and then Egret, either one of them, doesn't get a waiver, then what are we doing? Well, we're looking at a transfer from North Alabama, and we're looking at a redshirt freshman. Translation, not great vibes ahead for Duke. And I also want to put something else on your radar. Not that I love this, but I cannot ignore that people have been telling me this. I know that your friendly NCAA source has informed you that there is only one transfer portal window in this sport now. I wish it were true. But it is not. And so it is my humble duty to inform you, and this may come as a shock, but it is my humble duty to inform you that there are many people out there, namely players and coaches, who do not think that the NCAA's transfer portal window rule is worth the paper that it's written on. And so there are many staffs that are moving forward with plans to make moves after the spring period is done, with the thinking that as long as we can get a kid enrolled in fall semester, NCAA is not going to be able to stop us. And you just got to go judge shop. That's all you have to do. Get your temporary restraining order. Just the old NCAA playbook these days. Just run that and we'll be good. I don't like it, but I'm just telling you what I'm hearing behind the scenes. Do with that what you will.